Penn State.
Guess what, guys? We got a running back. We draft running backs in Philadelphia.
I woke up as a Philadelphia Eagle, so I'm just excited. I can't wait to get to work.
JJ or Whiteside?
I started crying because I was like, dang, I might be an Eagle.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
This guy's a baller.
All right, today the Eagles introducing their two picks from this day. Penn State running back Miles Sanders taken in the 53rd pick in the second round, and then 4 picks later, they grabbed big-bodied receiver from Stanford, wideout J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Big weekend for the Birds, no doubt about it. And on that note, we welcome you into Draft Central presented by Nissan. The 2019 NFL Draft is now in the books. So let's have at it. I'm Derrick Gunn along with Barrett Brooks and Ray Didinger. At first, Ray, I'll ask you this. Did the front office put this team that much closer to getting its hands back on the Lombardi Trophy?
Yes and no. The beginning of the draft, I say yes, they did a great job. They got guys that really can come in and perform right now. That's, the tackle we have could be a possibility that he might be able to start in relief if Jason Peters goes down. If you're not happy with Big V, he can come in and take the reins. But I'll say this, after that, Miles Sanders can come in, try to play special teams, probably get him out there and relieve, who's ever at running back on third down situations. He's also a first and second down. He's one of those backs that's dual purpose. He can do all of what they need as far as running the rock. Then after that, Arcega-Whiteside. JJ's a guy going to go with those 50-50 balls, but we already have a guy like that on this team. So Alshon Jeffrey is our 50-50 guy. So where does he fit in? Can he be a slot guy? Can he go out there and play a little Z position? I don't know. But after that, it gets a little dicey for me. It gets a little iffy for me. So we'll see.
All right, Ray, let's take a look at the Eagles' overall draft haul on this day. Of course, Andre Dillard was taken on day 1. And then, as mentioned, Miles Sanders and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in round 2. Today, they picked up Sanders' Penn State teammate and Philly native Shareef Miller, as well as quarterback Clayton Thorson. They acquired a 7th-round pick today, but they traded it for the Colts defensive lineman Hassan Ridgeway. Overall, Ray, are you impressed with this class?
I think probably a little bit more than Barrett is. No, I think they did good because I think they did real good at the top. I think acquiring Dillard was a brilliant piece of work by the front office. Getting a guy who was my top tackle in the draft to get him in the 20s was really good, and a guy who I think projects as your starting left tackle long term. And I really like the acquisition of Sanders. I mean, it's, Howie's kind of laughing about we do draft running backs here in Philadelphia. Well, you don't draft them all that often, okay? Right. But I think this time you drafted the right one, and they needed another back, and I think he comes in and he fills a need. And the rest of the guys, I think it's just a depth issue. But I think at the top of the draft, I think they did real well.
All right, we've just heard from Ray. We've also heard from Barrett. Now let's hear from Howie Roseman, who spoke to the media just a few moments ago about the 2019 draft class.
A lot of things went on. Whenever you have an experience like this, there are a lot of things that you look at and maybe you wanted to do. There are a lot of things that maybe you didn't expect to happen that come true. So it's a fun weekend, but at the same time, we still know that we don't play a game till September. And so we're going to continue to try to improve the roster. Our work is not done. We still have other periods to try to acquire players. But we are very, very happy about what we did this weekend. So it's a great testament to all the people in this building.
Now, of course, the guy who might have the most immediate impact is Miles Sanders. Barrett, what do you like about his game?
Everything. I love everything about his game. He has less tread on his tires than any of the backs probably in the draft. But looking at him, he has the size, speed, and quickness that you want from a running back. Now, he might not be as fast as a Blazer, but he can pick him up and put him down. It's not easy to tackle. He runs through tackles, and he's shifty, a lot more shifty than people give him credit for. He has enough speed that he can go out and break big plays. He can catch out the backfield. He does all the little multi-purpose things that you want from a back. He's a 3-down back. You put him in on goal line, he's going to go get it. I love the fact that this kid just keeps on going and getting better, and he understands it wasn't, bad that he sat behind and didn't play when he played, but it really gave him an opportunity to look back, see how Saquon Barkley played the game, and he patterned his game a little bit after Saquon, and you can kind of tell in the way he runs the ball. I remember I did my breakdown on him. I called him Shady-esque. Yes, I am saying he's more like Shady than I've seen in a long time. He's a really good back, and I really see him coming in and being a pretty good back, from this point on.
All right, Ray, for a guy who could be eventually an upper echelon running back of the National Football League, doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body.
No, and I think that's one of the things that I really like about the fact that, he had to sit behind Barkley, so he really only got 1 year of heavy-duty work. Now look at some of the other backs that came out and were drafted this year. Look at the number of carries that these guys have. I mean, 900 carries, 700 carries, 700 carries, 600 carries. That's a lot of wear and tear. Listen, the human body can only take so much, okay? But you look at Miles Sanders, he comes in 276 touches. Compared to all these other backs that are in this draft, the Eagles are getting a back that's, he's got a lot of miles still left to go, and I think that's a real plus.
All right, we all agree that out of all the picks the Eagles got this weekend, Sanders could have the most immediate impact. And here is Sanders today and having his NFL dreams come true.
Waiting for this opportunity my whole life, so having my dream finally come true and somewhere close to home, it hit home as soon as I seen that 215 call me and they were on the board. So it was exciting, very special moment for my family. Not a selfish player. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win. I mean, high school, I split reps with another great running back. Penn State's kind of the same thing. I'm ready. I'm willing to do whatever as far as special teams or splitting reps. It doesn't matter. I'm willing to do whatever to help this team win the championship.
All right, now taking a look at their second round pick, a guy who is a big-bodied individual, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. An interesting pick. Now, Ray, did you like this one? Because I didn't see his name on anybody's mock drafts of any kind.
No, very few. The issue I had with it last night was I was thinking after the first two picks were both offensive players. I thought with that third pick they might go defense, but I can't argue against it picking up Arcega-Whiteside because he is. He's a good player. I mean, you said the term big body. You've used it a couple times. That's exactly what he is. I mean, he's 6'4". He's 225 pounds. There are times when you watch him, he almost looks like a tight end. But and he could probably in some formations line up as a tight end. This team doesn't need tight ends at the moment, but I think he stands out as a guy that can be split wide. And what you see, the only issue he's going to have coming into the NFL is going to be the fact that he's got average foot speed. And you pretty much see every catch that he's got in college was a contested catch. It's going to be the same thing in the NFL. He's going to have to go up over top of people and catch the ball. He's going to have to wrestle the ball away from them. But he's big and strong. He's almost impossible to press cover. He fights off press coverage at the line of scrimmage. And if a ball's up for grabs in the red zone, in the end zone, he'll go up and take it away because he's going to be bigger than anybody that's trying to defend him.
All right, Barrett, is JJ going to be an instant contributor?
I think that he is because he has a side. And he's, even though he doesn't run a 40 speed fast, he does play on the field fast, faster than what people give him credit for. He can go out there and definitely dictate where he wants to be at on the field. He can occupy space, and that's what you want from a big receiver that's going to body you up, almost like he's a guy that's a tight end, big center in basketball. He's going to go up and get the ball, and that's what you want. I like the fact that he's going to go out there and really Debo D-backs. That's what you want. You're going to go and out there, rip past him, push him out the way, go get the ball. This is my ball. And if he has that attitude going into this season, he will contribute early.
All right, well, earlier today, JJ had a chance to chat with one of the few guys in the media who can actually look down on him, our own John Clark.
All right, JJ, first of all, congratulations. And I've read up on you that you say you're better than 50-50 jump balls, or not necessarily how high you jump, but it's positioning. Yeah. So what do you mean? Like you're actually like just trying to get in front of somebody? Like what are you saying?
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you for having me here. Thank you, Philly, for allowing me to come. But it's all positioning because it's all, you got to put your arm down so the guy can't get his arm up. You got to basically put your butt on his hip and scoot him back and then go up and get it. It's all effort, really. Whoever wants the ball more is going to get it. But little tools and techniques like that help.
So your journey, when you actually see this Eagles uniform and you see your name on the back of that, has it sunk in?
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely when I've gotten some text messages from the players already welcoming me here and excited to meet me and, take me under their wing. Like, I'm still living the dream right now, but, at the end of the day, I got to go play some football.
How cool is it that Alshon Jeffrey is one of those receivers that your game is kind of patterned after, and now you're going to be able to watch him up close and learn a lot of things from him too.
Oh no, he's the best. You know, he's one of the best to do it, and to be able just to not only watch him in person, but to line up next to him and really get to pick his brain about, you know, how he does and how he's gotten so good and how he's gotten to this point. You know, it's going to be great for me and my career, and you know, I'm going to try to help him and as much as I can, even though he probably doesn't need it. But you know, the better that I can get, the better I can make the team, and you know, the closer we can get to getting all those wins and get to the Super Bowl.
And how about Carson Wentz? What have you seen of him, and how do you think you're going to be able to connect with him?
Oh no, he's already texted me. He's excited. You know, I can't wait to get on the field with him, catch some balls, and get in the playbook. But you know, he's one of the best too. You know, and that's why the Eagles are so good. They have great weapons on offense, great defenders, and I'm just excited to be a part of them and learn from them.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for having me. Let's go Philly.
Go Philly. All right, the Eagles went back to State College in the 4th round, taking Philly's own Shareef Miller. We will hear from the diehard Eagles fan on getting to live out his dream. More Draft Central presented by Nissan coming up after this short timeout.
Choose Nissan today. Great offers on our multi.
I never thought in a million years that I ever get drafted, especially from the Eagles' home team, the team that I grew up on. Me and my grandpa grew up on watching the games. Every time the Eagles come on, we watch the game. It's crazy. I'm just blessed and thankful.
And we welcome you back to Draft Central. What a story of Shareef Miller, but what kind of impact is he going to have? Guys, did you like this pick?
You know what? A high effort guy. Yeah. He's going to go out there and play hard every single play. He's going to get up the field. You know, Coach Philip Daniels, he wants that type of player. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Curry. See, I like to compare guys just so I can give you a little sense of what I see in a guy. He reminds me a lot of Curry as far as him giving effort. May not have all the physical and tangible things, you know, to be a great pass rusher, you know, because he doesn't bend at the ankles and come around the corner like I've seen big-time pass rushers do. But the effort that he gives makes up what he lacks as far as that ability to turn the corner. And he's also pretty good at the run. He's going to lift, punch a guy out, get vertical, and get up the field. So his change direction is pretty good. He's just a guy that's going to give you all he's got on the field, and that's all you can ask from a player.
Right.
I would say that's a pretty good description, actually. I would describe him as still pretty raw, but I think there's a lot of upside there. One area where he definitely has to get stronger. You can see he needs to fill out and get stronger if he's going to play with his hand on the ground as a defensive end. When they went to the combine this year, of all the defensive linemen, he had the poorest performance in the bench press. He did 16 reps at 225, which is, you got to get bigger and stronger than that. But I like his effort, and I like the fact that he's coming home. And there's a lot there that still needs to be developed. But the biggest thing is he needs to get a little stronger.
All right, so Shareef is in, but does that mean Chris Long is out? We're still not sure if Chris Long will be back this year, but his tweets certainly make it seem like he's done. Asked what chance there was of him playing this year, he said, "It's not zero, it's not good, but I've always told them to assume I won't be back as to not hold them up. They could easily fill that purely depth position with someone else. I had a good enough year to not to be in that situation. Zero hard feelings. It's a biz." All right, let's head on over to the NovaCare Complex right now and bring in my colleagues, both Reuben Frank and Dave Zangaro. And guys, let me ask you, do you think Chris Long is coming back to the Eagles in 2019?
No, I mean, I don't see it happening. And it has nothing to do with Shareef Miller. I think that's probably one of the nails in the coffin. But for me, the big move was to get Malik Jackson, because he's going to be the guy who's out there on third downs. You know, previously they didn't have Fletcher Cox and another defensive tackle stay out there on third downs, and Chris Long would get a chance to play in those sub packages because Brandon Graham, or even before then, Vinny Curry would slide inside. That's not going to happen as much with Malik Jackson. I think that really was the biggest move that led to the situation with Chris Long right now.
Yeah, you look at what they've done on the defensive line. They've added so many pieces. They re-signed Brandon Graham. They brought in Vinny Curry. They drafted a kid. They signed Malik Jackson. They traded for a guy tonight, a defensive lineman. But I think it really has more to do with Chris than anything the Eagles have done. I think when your heart's not in it, no matter how many defensive linemen the team adds, I think you know it. And I think he's gotten to that point. He has so many interests outside football. He was in Washington this past week meeting with congressional leaders about putting in water filtration systems in sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, that's his passion. And he's had a great career. Didn't catch his dad in sacks. He's close. I mean, he's like 14. Played really well last year, but I think in his mind he's moved on. And once you've moved on mentally, I think you know the answer to that question.
All right, the Eagles invested their first 3 picks on offense. They have surrounded Carson Wentz with weapons galore. How good do you think this offense can be in 2019? I'll start with you, Rube.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about Ertz at tight end, Goddard. You bring him in. You bring in Deshaun to add to Aguilar and Alshon. Then you draft a receiver. You finally have that kind of go-to running back in Miles Sanders to kind of mix in with Jordan Howard and Corey Clement, whatever he's going to bring you. And then you have a left tackle if Jason Peters can't play. So this whole offseason has kind of been geared toward what can we do for the offense. I mean, the first 3 picks. Last time the Eagles drafted offensive players in the 3 offensive players in the first 2 rounds was 1973. That was a long time ago. So the emphasis was on what can we do for Carson? How can we protect him? What weapons can we get for him? This offense is going to be scary good. I don't know how you cover Deshaun and Ertz and Alshon and Nelly and then maybe Miles Sanders coming out of the backfield. This is going to be it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about it is they're going to be so multiple. That's the exciting thing. I mean, they can go in 12 personnel with Dallas Goedert, who in year 2 should be even better. But in 11, they have Deshaun Jackson out there, Nelson Aguilar out there. They brought in a second-round receiver. They have so many different ways that they can beat you. It's going to be fun to see what Doug Peterson does with it all. It's a lot of pressure, honestly, on the head coach and the play caller to figure out how to make it all work, but it's a good problem for him to have. I think he's going to have a lot of fun calling plays this year.
And finally, gentlemen, give me your one biggest takeaway from the draft.
Well, for me, the biggest takeaway is it's all about Carson Wentz. We saw them go offense for the first 3 picks since, 73?
Jerry Sizemore draft, Charlie Young.
Yeah, you covered that one. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this draft is that really, I mean, it's all about Carson Wentz. Eventually, they're going to pay this guy a ton of money. So the first pick in Andre Dillard, that's to protect your investment. And then the next 2 are ways for Carson Wentz to maximize his potential and his talent. To me, everything this organization has done this entire offseason, not just the draft, has been solely focused on getting the most out of Carson Wentz, and I think that's what we saw here.
And keeping them healthy. For me, I think that they were really true to their board. It would have been easy. I mean, there were some safeties there. They could certainly use young safety. I mean, Adderley was there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. There were some good safeties there. They didn't take a safety. They didn't take a linebacker. I just asked Howie about it a few minutes ago. I said, were you tempted to? And he said, yeah, we were tempted. There were some guys we really liked there, but we stayed true to our board and went with guys that weren't necessarily at positions of the same need as linebacker and safety, but we just were true to our board. And I think that's important to do because you're drafting for the long term. They don't have young talent at safety. I mean, Trey Sullivan did some nice things late in the season. We don't know how good a player Trey Sullivan's going to be. And they don't really have any young talent at linebacker. Nate Gary is kind of a special teamer who could take another step, but we don't know that. And they got some veteran special teams type guys. So they need young talent at those positions. And there were guys they could have taken, but it wouldn't have been true to their board. So we'll see how that works out for them in the long run.
Dave, Zangaro, and Reuben, Frank, thank you guys for your insight as always. Eagles went quarterback in the 5th round, so what does the panel think of the selection of Northwestern's Clayton Thorson? We'll discuss and grade the draft in just a moment.
This guy's going to fit in real comfortably.
Barrett, you surprised they took a QB?
No, I'm not surprised they took a QB. They needed somebody to come up through the ranks, and at this point, why not go get somebody? At this point, Carson is not worried about his job at all. This guy's solely to come in so they can mature inside of that offense and maybe get some reps here and there as far as being a reserve guard much later on after, Carson's been in, for a long time. I will say this, he's one of those guys that he's used to winning. I mean, even being at Northwestern, being in the Big Ten, he still went out there and played well against quality competition like the Ohio States, the Michigans, teams like that.
Now it brings us to the moment of truth as we take one last look at the Eagles draft class, and then we need to get grades across the board. So, Ray, I will let you lead off, sir.
I really liked it. I thought the Dillard pick was terrific. I thought they did a great job of strategizing and moving up and getting a player who I think is really good. So I think the addition of Sanders is really good. He sort of completes the backfield. I think Whiteside, to me, he projects as a guy who, when they get down in the red zone, they're going to take Deshaun Jackson off the field, and they're going to put this guy in, and they're going to have wide bodies from sideline to sideline. A lot of good targets for Carson Wentz. I'm giving this draft an A-.
Ooh, all right, Barrett.
Whoa, well, I'm the total opposite of that. It's not a bad draft. I really think that, I'm going to give him a C+, but I just didn't see, the quality that I needed on the defensive side of the ball in this draft. I needed a linebacker. We didn't get one. But other than that, the players that we have will be very functional here.
All right, for me, I'm going to give him a solid B. I think the first 3 picks are going to be able to contribute, although the offensive tackle is not pressed to start right away. Beyond that, we just don't know. And that's going to wrap up this Draft Central presented by Nissan. For Barrett Brooks,
yes, sir.
Ray Didinger, I'm Derrick Gunn. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great night, everybody.